Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create mailing labels or really any type of label using an Excel sheet and mail merge. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with our Excel sheet. One thing important to note is that the best way to go about doing this is making sure that you have column headers on top. These will be used as the fields we're going to insert into the labels. Um, so we're going to be doing mailing labels today, but honestly, you could do any type of label. These, instead of names, could be SKU numbers if you were doing product labels, or anything along those lines. One thing I do want to point out here that's really only a problem when you're doing mailings to anywhere in the Northeast um, is our zip codes have a leading zero in the front of all of them, and Excel doesn't normally see that. So one thing you can do here is you can format the column and use the special number category to tell it is a zip code, and that'll change it here. But when it goes ahead and pulls it into the label, it is not going to recognize that. So I'm going to show you my little quick trick on how I fix that. And again, that is really just for any postal codes in the New England area. So once you go ahead and you have this all set up, you can go ahead and make sure you save it, and it does need to be closed to be able to use it in a mail merge document. So it is saved, and I am going to close it. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and open up a blank Word document. And you're going to go up here to the top to mailings to the tab. And I'm going to go ahead and start a mail merge over here. And I'm going to use the step-by-step mail merge wizard. I like this because it just reminds me of each step I need to take. You'll see over here on the right-hand side, you could do different types of documents, envelopes, letters. Today we are doing labels. I want to choose labels and go down here to the bottom to the next starting document. On the right here, you'll see that we have label options. So we're going to go ahead and open that up. And as you may or may not know, labels comes in all different shapes and sizes. And right here is where we're going to be able to choose pre-formatted layouts, so we don't have to do that ourselves. I generally use the Avery US labels, and there are other kinds in case you do choose something else. But they are all listed by the number that's listed on the packaging. So you'll see if you buy certain labels, they're for different items. Some, might have business cards that you're doing this with, file folder labels. We're going to be doing address labels. Like I said, you could see over here, it tells you what size labels they are. So this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet. The labels will be 1 inch by 4 inch. You could see they change a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and use these 5662 address labels. You'll see it goes ahead and pulls up that, it's almost a table. It's kind of all laid out. So when you go to print the labels, they'll print properly. So the next step, we're going to go ahead down here on the right, say next, we're going to select our recipients. And we're going to go ahead and browse for that Excel sheet. I have it on my desktop here. I'm going to open it up. This name here basically is the name of the sheet tab that I created in the Excel document. It might just be blank if you didn't change that, but I did change mine to say address labels. If you have multiple sheets listed in your Excel document, they might be listed here. You can only choose from one at a time, so you'd pick one. You'll notice here it says first row of data contains column headers. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's checked because mine does. Now in this part, it does show you a little snippet of what your each row is that you have in your address labels. On occasion, you may notice that there's some blank lines down here at the bottom, and you can go ahead and uncheck those if you wanted to, but I do not have any blank lines. My Excel sheet was formatted properly, and so I'm just going to go ahead and move to the next step. Alrighty, so you see here it says next record in all but the original top label here. That is because this next record tells the mail merge to go ahead and pull the next line from your Excel sheet. So we're going to make sure we don't touch those. What we're going to do is we're going to set up this very first label up here the way we want it to look. And by doing that, we're going to go up here to Insert Merge Field. So I don't know if you remember my Excel sheet had first name, last name, title, company, street, city, zip, state, and zip, sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these in just like you would if you were handwriting a letter. So I'm going to say first, I'm going to put a space, last, first name, last name. Next line, I'm going to go ahead and put their title in. Next line, I'm going to say company. Next line, I'm going to put the street address. Next line, city, and I'm going to put the comma in, and then a space, state, space, zip. Now, if you wanted your labels justified all the way over here to the left and you like the sizing of this, that's great. I don't, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. What I'd like to do is have my all the words centered on my label. So I'm going to go back up here to the Home tab. I've selected all of my fields and I'm going to go ahead and center it. I'm also going to take a look at my spacing over here. On occasion, depending on different size labels, you might have to change the size of your letters. My spacing looks okay. It's single space with 0 spacing. That's great. One thing here, it is centered and it's also centered horizontally as well as vertically. But if it wasn't, one thing I like to do is I would select all of these just by pressing my cursor down and dragging down. And then I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to table properties and then I'm going to go to cell and I'm going to go ahead and select centering. That's the vertical alignment. Say OK. So it looks like here that I had a space. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust that. There you go. So now you'll see that all of my items here are centered within the label. I might decide that I want the company to be a little bit bigger, so I can go ahead and fix that. And maybe I want it to be bold or blue or stand out a little bit, so I can go ahead and change that. And once I get this looking exactly the way I want it, I'm going to go back over here to the Mailing tab at the top. And I'm going to go over here and say Update Labels and watch what happens. It made sure that each of the labels on here looks the same. It still kept that next record. We're not going to mess with that. Again, that tells it to take the next line from your Excel document. And we're going to go back over here to the right and we're going to go to Arrange Our Labels. So there's some other formatting that you can use, but I find if you've laid it out the way you want already, you don't really need to do anything with that. So we're going to go ahead over and we're going to go to preview our labels. And this is going to go ahead and show us what our labels look like. Now you'll notice here that it's only showing me number 39 and 40. But that's because I have over the amount of labels that are going to be on a sheet. So up here on the right hand side, if you start scrolling back, it'll show you all the rest of the labels. One thing I like to do here is I don't really worry about this much. If it looks okay to me, I know that on the next step that I can adjust any individual labels as I need to. So as long as the layout looks proper to you, if you wanted to go back, if you say, oh, I didn't bold the company name, you can go down here on the right side and go back to the previous where you're setting up your labels. Go ahead and select that company. I'm going to bold it. I'm going to go back to my Mailing tab and update the labels. You'll see it updated all my labels and I'm like, oh good, it's bold now. I'll go to the next, to my preview. Now it looks the way I'd like it to look. Wonderful. And I'm going to go ahead and complete the merge. Now I could print from here if I wanted to, but one of the things I like to do is over here, I'm going to go to Edit Individual Labels. When you do this, you're going to say yes, you're going to merge it all. It basically opens a whole new Word document with your sheet labels on there. And this allows you to treat it more like a Word document and less like you're in the merge wizard. So you can make changes to this and it won't, if you'll see, if I minimize it, my original document's still here. So oftentimes I might save this document if I need to pull from again and again, but the document I'm going to make changes to now um, is its own file. So as you can see what I talked about earlier, this postal code does not have the 0 in front of it. So one thing I often do if I'm mailing to anywhere in New England, I go it and if you set your Excel sheet up with the zeros in front of it formatted as text, that's great. But oftentimes what happens is when I've either downloaded a list from someplace, once I pull it into Excel, it automatically drops that and it won't bring the 0 back. So it can be a lot of work depending on how many labels you're doing. So one thing I like to do in this Word document is I use the find and replace up here at the top. So you want to be in your home tab and we're going to go up here to replace. And we're going to look for something. So we're going to look for the 2's that have a space in front of it. So I'm going to put a space and a 2. And then I am going to put a space and a 0 too. So basically it's going to look for everything that has a space with a 2 and it's going to replace it with a space 0 2. Watch what happens. It made 40 replacements for me. I'm going to go ahead and close this and you can see it added a 0 correctly to all of my labels. You can do that for lots of different things. You can search for certain words. Let's say I wanted to change street. If I go over here to replace and I say look for ST period and replace it with street, it would replace them all. It replaced it 13 times. So it's a kind of a quick, easy way to replace if you misspelled something or if you just want to do a quick update without having to go through each single one and do it. So now you'll see here that I have I have 1, 2, I have down here in the bottom corner, you can see I have 3 pages of labels. These blank ones, nothing will print there. So I would go ahead at this point and I would put the labels, 3 sheets of labels into my printer and I can go ahead and print. And that's pretty much it. And like I said, when you're using your Excel file, these could be anything. They could be SKU numbers, they could be part descriptions. There is the next step that you could go to if you wanted to go ahead and put a logo on your labels. I can go ahead and show you that quick. So again, this was a whole new sheet, so I could save it or get rid of it. I'm not going to save it. So here we are back again at our mail merge wizard, and I'm going to go back to the right, and I'm going to go back a few steps because I want to be setting up my labels. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and fix them to be left justified. Right there. And I'm going to go ahead over here and I'm going to go to insert pictures. And I'm going to, you could find an image online. I'm going to go ahead and find one here. Actually, I'll probably just use an icon. We're going to go ahead and insert that, and you'll see that I've now inserted a picture here, which could be your logo, or it could be just a picture, maybe a Christmas picture if you're doing Christmas labels. And I'm going to fix the wrap on this, the wrap meaning how the text responds to the document. So if you come back up here, you'll see when I have the picture selected, this graphics format tab automatically pops up here. And I'm going to go ahead and select the square. And you'll see that my words properly wrap to this. Sometimes you need to finagle it a little bit depending on the size of the shape, but I think that looks pretty good. If you needed to make this a little bigger or smaller, you can. Again, we want this picture on all of the labels, so I'm going to go back over to my mailings tab and I'm going to say update the labels, and you'll see that it went ahead and it added that image to all the labels. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to preview my labels. They look fine. I want to complete the merge. And I'm going to edit my individual labels, all of them, yes. It creates a new Word doc sheet. I'm going to go ahead and fix my postal code issue. Place them all. And now you'll see that I have perfectly formatted labels and it pulled from my Excel sheet. So again, you could save this and use it at other times, or you can go ahead and just get rid of it. And that's it. It's as simple as that.